On the bottom of your website, it says the advantage of specialization. We're not learning, we're executing.
Exactly. You don't have to teach us how to do any of this. We literally know how to do it better than you.
All right, you all, welcome back. We're back in studio for an awesome trip to the Northeast. Today on Necessary Entrepreneur, we're joined by Thais Saenz. I had to get that name down, and I finally crushed it. An immigrant from Brazil who turned corporate operations experience into a powerful operations as a service company for roofing contractors across the United States. Through her firm, this is a great name because now they've put the last name first on me, Saenz Global. There we go. But it's spelled Saenz. She helped over 100 businesses escape administrative chaos, scale across dozens of markets, and reclaim their time and freedom. We dive into how she built systems, scaled operations, overcame industry skepticism, and redefined what freedom looks like for hardworking contractors. All right, let's get into it.
Mark, thank you so much. I'm really pumped to be on this podcast with you. And
Yeah, because you have a podcast of your own, and so you're used to talking to people. You have awesome charisma. Right when we jumped on here, you're actually in Brazil right now, in an amazing place. Should we share this so the world starts to learn about it? Where are you in Brazil right now?
I'm in Florianópolis, Brazil, aka it's a nickname called Floripa. You totally need to check it out on YouTube. It is an amazing place to be.
And you're going to send us a link, and now everyone will, and everyone's going to rush there. So, hey, I'm pumped because right when we jumped on, in this world, everything that we do, these businesses, we're all in sales. And we're all trying to sell and market and brand something. And what I found out is that when you have charisma, whether it's natural, whether it's developed, it just elevates the thing you're building. Where did Thais's charisma come from?
That if you people would say it came from my dad. My dad is pretty epic. Like, he is an incredible, charismatic individual. It's actually powerful, but maybe they say it's genetic. But I also think it's just part of my upbringing, right? I love people, and I think probably seeing my parents too. My dad's just incredible with people. I think I just kind of got that naturally, but also I think life's journey, right? Always looking at the positive really has helped. But I had a really great teacher, which was my dad, watching what he did and how he lived his life. So I got to give a shout out to my dad for sure.
Do you think he intentionally let you experience it, or is that just who he was and you were just there as his child and his daughter to be along for the ride?
So I think it's both. I think he has a really interesting story, right? And he has 11 siblings. And out of his 11 siblings, he's the one that kind of broke out and has done incredible things. And so I think it's both the charisma that he naturally has, but it's also a lot of intentionality. So he would infuse and grow more in it by how intentional he was. And so I think he intentionally brought us along and intentionally would constantly coach us. But then we also behind the scenes just got to see it naturally of who he is, So he's the real deal. Got to really give a shout out to my dad again.
So when you say real deal, because we use statements like that, like the person has it, they're the real deal. Do you recognize that in other humans when you see it? Are you always looking for it, or when it pops up, you're like, oh, there's another one?
Yeah, I think there is this charisma, right? That I think especially you can kind of identify it's just like it's just part of a show or the mask, right? But then there's little details that you can see in just very simple things. If I'm in a line at an event, right? And that individual that's charismatic, I can look at something and be like, oh, this is really who they are. They're just that individual, right? And so I think you can tell a lot if it's authentic or not in the little moments where maybe people think no one's watching. So
people are always watching, aren't they?
Always watching.
Yeah.
Always.
So why did you, in 2019, I believe you started your business, Saenz Global. Why'd you start this
2020.
2020. Okay. So why'd you start the business? It's in the roofing industry. When I was researching it and I saw that we were going to have you on and we were going to talk, the roofing business in this country is enormous. And me being in real estate, I'm kind of adjacent to it, right? it seems like over the past decade, it exploded. And there were a lot more people that came on the scene. And I've always wondered and thought these seemed like these were roofers starting business without the business acumen, is what it seemed to me a lot. And I'm reading this today when you were coming on. I'm like, they must have started the business to solve that operations process. Must have. If not, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah. So I will tell you. It was not, it was almost, I don't say accidental because I think everything happens for a reason, right? But I, I happened to get a roofing contractor from someone who recommended and said, "Oh, I know this girl. She has a business and she really likes working with blue collar industries." So we got them and we're like, "Yeah, absolutely. You can do everything that you need." And I'm like, "We don't know to do any of this, but what I do know is we know how to learn." Right. And so we quickly learned it. And then we're like, "You know what? Let's do more roofing contractors." And so we kind of just flowed in it. And actually, at that time, we didn't really realize, we were naive how big the roofing industry was. It just happened that, we got a roofing contract. We're like, "Oh, let's get another one." And then as we started to get introduced more into the industry, we're like, "Oh, this is pretty huge." So it was kind of like that type of story.
So the business was going to be targeting who before you realized this was an opportunity?
It was everyone. So when I first started the business, I'm in corporate America, right? I have a really successful corporate career. I'm the youngest individual in the company to have the role. I was like, you had the story, you had the 5-star hotels you would travel to, the benefits. It looked incredible. But I heard a podcast. This is why I love podcasts. And on that podcast, because I would drive a lot to meetings, the guy said the best thing I ever did is go virtual, meaning I went and had virtual administrative support. And I was like, that's interesting. It's 2020, right? Well, I happened to go on maternity leave for 4 months. And while I'm on maternity leave, what happens here is I then have a sister-in-law that's unhappy with her 6-figure job. And she's like, "I'm just ready." And I was like, "Oh, I heard a podcast." So again, love podcasts. And long story short, she went into this virtual realm. I said, "Oh my gosh." My husband just said, "Why don't you open yours?" So while I'm on maternity leave, I opened this business, but it was for anyone who was alive and breathing. My first client was a taco company.
Were
You
you
know,
thinking? Were you thinking in the traditional VA, because that was really evolving then? I know we're going to discuss
yes,
your company's more, but
traditional
that's what it
VA.
was. Okay.
Yeah, it was just a traditional VA. I'm like, "Oh, you have a taco company and you're alive and breathing? I can do social media for you," right? "Oh, you're a windows and door agency and you need to do data entry? We can do that for you," right? And so very quickly, but I also had a lot of corporate background, so I was able to very quickly install and infuse. And I quickly started to grab the right people to do the job and complete it, right? And then I went into roofing and it just happened, like very natural, organic.
What have you found the big needs are for these roofing contractors? Because again, it feels like these guys bust their ass. They're blue collar. They're hustling and working these 12 and 14 and 16-hour days. They put crews together, but they're good at roofing. And what I find the top salespeople in companies, unfortunately, it's not that they can't be good at business. They just haven't cut their teeth at business and they don't have the operational pillars built. And so for them to learn that, they're going to have to give up a lot of revenue on the production side. So is that what you're fixing with this service, with this business that you're doing?
Yeah. What we're really fixing is the industry is just so ready for disruption, right? And so what we're really fixing is, hey, you have a hunter, right? Typically this sales individual, he's a hunter. And I get it. He does not like doing administration, right? And to get a roof on and to be to provide that world-class experience, which I really believe every owner wants to give world-class experience. That's truly what they do desire, right? They want clients to rave about them. But for them to do that, there is so much that goes in behind the scenes. It's not just simply selling the roof. There's a lot of administration variables. And where they get really frustrated and where it caps them from growing or sometimes feeling like a failure, or sometimes, the frustration flows into their parenting, right? Into their spouses. And so really we're on a mission to help people become happier because happier people are happier parents, and happier parents bring happier kids, and that impacts the world. So for us, it's all about people, right? And so our mission truly is to help the roofing contractor be so confident that they can focus on hunting, and the back fulfillment side is really ran by professionals that are on their team. We are not VAs, right? We're not just task driven. We literally built a machine. We want you to scale and grow, and we want to cheer you on. And we're also thought leaders with them. So we have so much knowledge in the industry that we're telling them best practices. Some are coming to us, they have no idea what to do. We're like, no worries. All right, let's set you up like this is what we recommend. And of course, we infuse their DNA style communication, all that, but we have all the best practices. You don't have to start by yourself. We got it, right? You go out there and hunt, build an incredible team, and then let's infuse the back end so you can grow really quickly. So that's really our mission, to impact the world in that way.
Isn't it fascinating that, people talk about passion so much? I tell people, I'm like, you know what? Make a decision, pick a field, pick a path. And if you're the right person, you'll find passion within anything. Right? I speak that all the time. I didn't wake up. I wasn't an 18, 19, 20-year-old and said, hey, real estate's going to be my destination. Most of the people I know, they don't have that. If you have it, you're fortunate. If you just know at 12 that you know what you're going to do, but I haven't. And it's amazing. You can take roofing and say, we're going to improve their lives, and that's our passion. And I believe it. I hear it, right? Because as an entrepreneur, you're solving a lot of the downside of the entrepreneurial journey too for them. With these roofers, I'm thinking, I'll ask a very generic question because I'm sure you have an intelligent answer behind it. Can you take any roofer?
No.
Okay, there we go.
Because it's all about mindset. Okay. Because the roofers who want this, you're going to have to understand that you are not the only one that can do what you're doing, right? You have to have that mindset of like, okay, cool. I am the cap. I am the bottleneck. So the reason I'm not hitting over 2 million, 3 million, it's not my team. They're not the ones to blame. It's not the CRM. It's me. And so if you're an individual that's like, you don't realize that, you don't have that mindset of like, okay, cool. I want to get better. I want to get my team better. I need to put systems in so people want to work with me because they love how systematized things are, how simple and order and peaceful things can be, right? If they don't have that mindset, then there's no way we can work with you because it's not going to work. We can't pull you, right? We're coming in to work alongside you and also support you. And we're also a lot of times dealing with mindset where they're feeling, depending on where they are, we're gauging contractors from all different, areas of life. Some that don't have any roofing experience, they're coming from tech and they're purchasing a roofing business, right? And so we're able to help them structure, give them ideas, or those who have constantly capping or large businesses doing 60 million plus and have a great team, right? So the dynamic looks different, but we cannot work, right? If the mindset is limited, because no one will ever be enough. And we're not in this, we're in this for like a long journey with you.
We could take this to a mindset podcast. I'll stay focused on the roofing business. It's funny that everything comes back to it. All the way back to decades ago, Jim Rohn's not with us anymore, but I believe he said something like, the most important thing is your personal philosophy. And that
Totally.
just goes how you process everything and decisions you make and how you engage with humans. So that's what we're sitting here talking about. What lessons have you learned, if it's about mindset, what lessons have you learned even coming from corporate America that you didn't know you needed to learn still about these roofing contractors, about these business owners? In which it's a failure question, right? What didn't go well?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So many things. I'm literally like sometimes, even till this day, I invest heavily, our team, since we invest heavily in coaching and consulting, because I'm like, I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for that. Right. Because it is a lonely journey. Right. And just to have people that are like, okay, get up, put your head up, let's go. Right. And just realizing, okay, cool. So I'm a huge advocate of that. But a lot of things went wrong. More things went wrong than right. Right. And so what I like for this year, it has been it is, I feel like Lord of the Rings. We're literally gone through insanity this year, right? And I brought in consultants. We deconstructed the entire thing. We cut waste 40%, literally. I went and 80% of the work is done by 20% of people, right? I went in and just had a review, took out COO directors, VPs. I flatline this sucker, and then we're like, all right, let's sunset what doesn't work. And so that takes a lot of, it was a lot. We just, okay, what's not really working? What's working? And so you're a lot of getting punched in the face, but now to be in a place where like, okay, cool. What we have, it's epic. We're seeing such great, client experience. We get to bring so much value to them with the technology, but it was freaking hard. Felt like I ran this year, I feel like I was inside of what's that race, that crazy race that is really
Not the
intense.
Amazing Race.
No, it is Ironman.
24-hour Le Mans, or is it the one in the desert riding?
The Ironman, right?
Oh, okay.
The Ironman. We just had an Ironman here in the island, actually. And I was like, oh my gosh, I literally feel like I just went through this, period. A lot. It's hard. It's freaking hard. But I think that just now it's constant learning. So
Yeah.
what didn't go right? Please, we're not for everybody. Can't please everybody. So what did we do? We were like, oh, we actually are no longer a boutique. We're not customizing anything because that's not able to grow. So we're going to sunset. We're also going to say, we can't work with you unless you use these two CRMs. That was another thing, right? We used to use all the CRMs. And so really becoming a true specialist and just saying no to a lot of things and opportunities that seem like they're arising.
Yeah, on the bottom of your website, it says the advantage of specialization, we're not learning, we're executing.
Exactly. You don't have to teach us how to do any of this. We literally know how to do it better than you.
You had to be okay saying that, didn't you? Didn't you have to get to a place where you just had to lean into that?
Yeah. No. This year has been insane. I'm stepping into where now it's all about accountability, right? Where before I was like scared of holding things accountable. We're like, well, they're so nice. And it's like, no, now for elite team where we don't like A players, we want to win the championship. There's accountability. If you're not, if you're not adding value and if you're not really performing, you're A players, we don't like to play with you. And so it's really a toxic, cancerous environment. That's what happened to me this year. Just literally being like getting all the cancer out and truly just refining and earning like, okay, top 20% players, let's go after it. Very, very hard. Okay.
Yeah. Do you think you went from maybe accommodating to then just saying, we're done with all that, we're doing it our way because we've learned it and we know it?
Yeah, we're done accommodating. And where we really have that when you come to us, we're like, okay, cool, we understand, but this is how we work actually. If you don't like it, we can't work together but we know that this scales because we have test proved it, right? And so it's a different vibe as well because when they're typically roofing contractors are used to maybe VA, where the VA is like, oh, thank you. And the VA works for them in a way, right? We don't work for you. The same way that we can you part ways with us, we can part ways with you. Like this is truly a partnership where we're in this together and we're committed. We want to see you win. You're like, we're all in for you. Very hard, right? Before I was like, oh, we don't want to lose the, revenue. Like, now it's like, it is what it is. You're treating us like crap. I don't care if you pay $15,000 a month. You don't talk to us like that. So we got to go. So it's hard to get here, but here I am.
Now you're ready. You're ready for 2026. So you made the analogy that it's like running the Ironman.
Yes.
I'm assuming most people don't win their first Ironman is what I'm assuming. I mean, it's an assumption. I have no idea. There's probably some person they ran their first one and they won it. But I'm sitting here reflecting on what I assume the preparation would be to even successfully finish an Ironman. Most of the time, though, I bet we start before we're truly ready. But that's what you have to do, right? You have to get started. And
100%.
Now you probably understand for 2026, running your global company for supporting roofers, you now know what the training looks like on what the race is going to be.
Oh, it is. You know what I love most of all of this? We simplified everything. Simplicity really scales. And so it's a really cool to place. Our business is 5.5 years. It's cool we just actually had our 2026 strategy meeting last week. It's cool to be like, we're going into 2026 with such clarity and such peace. And the team, we're not going into chaos because we're just repeating with excellence and refining. So it's really refreshing, but super hard to get here. This has been brutal.
Yeah. So what's your approach for business development and building a new client base and growing that and scaling that?
First, it just depends on where you are, right? Like for me, I was literally a fresh entrepreneur. The business we started, shoelace, right? This has always been sponsored from the bottom. My husband and I putting it together.
Bootstrapping everything up.
Oh, everything, 100%. 100%. No, so it depends on what type of business, right, you have. So for us, it was just bootstrap. I was making phone calls, 100 calls a day, getting no's nonstop, right? Just like real hardcore. But if you're coming into an industry, maybe you have a background in it, it just goes back to what I would challenge you to be like, you need systems. If you don't have systems, you are going to fail, right? So that's the very first thing. Get a good foundation. And definitely don't wait till it's perfect, but put it up, and then there's so many great resources out there to show you like, this is a good framework, or I recommend getting a quick consultant. They can guide you, get a framework. And then, because once you go out there selling and building, you need to be able to infuse the client in there and for the client to be really happy with their experience. Because the best way to go bankrupt is sell and you can't fulfill, right? And so reverse engineer.
Yeah, that's Charlie Munger. One of his statements was always invert everything. And that's what reverse engineer. He said, look at it the opposite way and you can solve any problem. Yep. Have you thought about through 2025? I love that I can hear the struggle, but that you're still smiling. And right, that makes me believe you're going to keep going. But in those moments of what are we doing, that you and your husband spend your time and 3 young kids, have you thought about, and I should just go back to corporate America? Have you?
Oh my gosh, I totally have. I've had moments when we first started the business. My husband he's the polar opposite. He's not a business guy. He's all about heart, like loves supporting, or it's like he would give his shirt off his back, right? He's that guy that's like all about orphanages and like teaching, and like that's really what his passion is. He's really hard there. So he's actually a teacher. So he's there, and I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna go ahead and pay this. Like, you got to go do some Uber drives, and I'm gonna start. So he's always been really supportive on that end. But it's been just. I don't even remember what you asked me now. Now I forgot.
Just have you thought about going back to corporate America?
Oh my gosh, absolutely. In those moments, I'm like, I'm literally working for not even free. I'm having to pay to do this, right? And I'm like, okay, I could just go back to corporate America. Easy. I'll get 6 figures like that, less headache. But then for me, I just go back to, I've lived that life and I don't want to go back, right?
Why
I don't want
not?
to go back.
Why not? Why not?
For me, I go all in. And I know everyone's like, it's easy to say that. But
Actually,
what
everyone
happened?
does not. Everyone does not say that.
Okay. Well, this is actually what happened to me in my corporate life. Ready? I feel like I was a little bit brainwashed at that time, where I was like, I get VIP access to everything. I'm the first in the line to American Airlines. I got all the miles and points to the top hotels, right? So I'm checking into this hotel in Miami. Okay. I was just flying out to Peru. So I went there early. And the receptionist, he said to me, thank you so much for never being home. And I was just like, and he goes, thank you so much for never being home. We wouldn't have jobs if it weren't for people like you. Because he's looking at the thousands of miles I have. And it literally was just like slap in the face and said, I'm boasting about all of these miles, but what they really tell me is I'm never home. I don't want this. Like, I'm missing home, right? And it was one thing when it was me and my husband, then I had my son, right? And then now I have having my daughter. And I'm like, I don't want this. I don't want this. So it was this very, like, I've been in a brainwash mode. So it was very eye-opening. And I really love that now what we're building, we're infusing, we're building people, right? We're getting to see the impact that it has in our team members' life. Like, we just had a team member like, oh my gosh, we just bought our first car, we just bought our first house, we just got to so you get to see people's bucket lists, things that they've dreamed of become reality and alive. And so for us, that's what drives me. And when I lived that corporate world, it was a different game, you know? It was like, how quickly can I get where I need to be? How much money more can I make? It's just the passion was different. So I don't want to go back.
Now you're just replacing the passion, because I bet you were the same human then. You're an evolved, more mature, because that's what we all do. But the same human, right?
Same exact. And I was looking back, I'm like, what caused me to be so like, kind of going back successful in what I did at the age range I did it. It was always people, right? I was like, it was always people. It was like, I could connect with the individuals, right? I was the account manager, and once they would let me into the world. And so then I would get more clients, because I genuinely care about the people. So for me, it just goes back to, I genuinely care about the people.
Yeah. But you said you care. So in the beginning, you did say you love people as well, right? So I bet if you go back to your childhood, there's probably pictures of you smiling and dancing around and having a great time. And I'm assuming there was massive energy with you. But you can love the people, but you also succeeded in a world where whatever the career you came from, an account executive, why do you think you were is it just because you loved people? Because if someone doesn't have, what else did you do to take the love for people to succeed in corporate America? What did you do? What was the approach?
I owned it. So anything that I did, so I was that account manager that the people internally that would have to assist me, they all hated me, right? And then also I would be like, even my bosses didn't like me because I would skip when they would tell me no. I'd be like, okay, well, I know this is what needs to happen. I'm going to skip and go ask the owners, right? I'm going to go skip and ask the CEOs. I was that person that took it so like, this is mine. Like, this is my market, right? And so I always, when I did anything, I looked back, right? When I was I was a clown, right? Even when I did a clowns at parties, I worked at Foot Locker. I worked at, Lady Foot. Anytime, all of these, I would act like it's mine. These are my people. These are my clients. I'm going to take good care of them. And so it's like pride in your work and like what your name stands for, right? Oh my gosh, I love working with Thais because she takes such good care of it. Because it goes back to people. I love and I think also too, just I grew up my parents are immigrants, right? If you meet them, they have really intense accents. And so there's this thing, I don't know, everything that I did, I just always wanted to kick butt. I don't know. There's just
Massively competitive.
massively competitive, but in a weird competitive, mean way, in a weird, like constantly competing with myself. Does that make sense?
Competing with yourself versus others.
But yeah, always competing against myself. Like, okay, what can I do better? What can I do better?
How often
And so
did you
like
do
this.
that? Did you do it every hour, every minute, every task, every day? How often were you reflecting on how could I do it better?
So something that I noticed about myself is that I always was looking at data. So I was like, okay, cool. So there's a competition. They're going to give you X amount when this happens, or how many closes do we have? Okay, cool. How can I outbeat, the number that I did last month? So I was always strategically, and now I did the Working Genius exam with like our whole company. And so I realized my personality. It's kind of hard for me to turn off because I'm always strategically thinking, right? Okay, so I think for me, it was constant. I would wake up and like, I'm on a mission today. Even in school, even in college, I'm that person that I'm like, I don't even, not, I'm like, I went to college for my business classes. I really loved it. Other than that, I'm really thankful I made it. Right.
So
So,
you have that constant improvement. Have you found that people that you've worked with over the years, are there many people that have that shared feeling of responsibility?
so I think what has really benefited me is where one, I got recruited right out of college to work for Nordstrom in the Texas area, the Dallas area. And the Nordstrom I was working for was like the top one in all of the South of the United States. And so the standard, it was like, oh my gosh, I made it onto this team. It was like such a different standard, right? And so I learned how that looks like in standardized. And then also when I got recruited to go to the other company I got into, most of the individuals I worked with, they were of a different generation. Okay. They'd been in that company 20, 30, 15 years. And so I was surrounded by people who took a lot of ownership. And so I think it got really ingrained and infused in me as well. And I think back to my parents, everything they did, right? They did it with infusion of like, okay, let's go all in. This is like our pride. So I think early surroundings, that's all I saw. It's, I think, a different generation now sometimes where it's, they might see something different, but I think that really helped me. I'm
So
like,
what do
this
you
is
do
how you
now?
do it.
Yeah, what do you do now though as a leader in the leadership role to try to infuse that? Because now it's your responsibility.
Well, yeah, 100%. So one, we have I'm constantly getting coaching, like every single day. We have like and I've had different seasons where I bring in different coaches where they're like 20 steps ahead of me, right? And so when we outgrow them, we go to another. But always, so right now I'm always with a coach. So I'm like, this is what I'm dealing with, and then we're in refine, and I'm fusing it into the team. Our company is it is because of our company culture. It's our team. It's because of us together, right? And so I now with the restructure is all about accountability and transparency. So then it goes back to them infusing it into their teams. So now it's all about accountability, if that makes sense, and clarity. So I think I'm going all over the place on this one.
No, we're
I
not.
apologize.
No. This is good.
Yeah.
Here's why it's so good. I think that the same experience you had in 2025 on all the lessons that you learned and had to flatten everything and then rebuild, make sure there's a good foundation. What I see is this is everybody's lives. This is how people are going through their daily life, whether they're an employee, whether they're an entrepreneur. They feel like this all the time because what I've reflected on a lot is the majority parts of our day, they don't go the way that we want them to.
No.
Because we're engaging with human beings that have other goals. They're trying to accomplish other things. And so we're the ones, if you want to do big things in life, you could be entrepreneurial, you could be an entrepreneur, the contractors you're working with, you have to take responsibility, right? To build these systems, to infuse this charisma, to realize like, hey, it's not going to go well. And the most important thing is when it's not going well, that's when you actually have to be more calm, when you have to have a good attitude, when you have to reflect on what are the systems that I built. So I think there's many times in my day too, my brain wants to go all over the place.
Yeah, 100%. And I think it's just honing that in and also just learning I need SOPs for my brain, right? So I need standard operating procedures. I know that when this is straight, and then these are all, things that I've learned through my consulting coaching that I'm getting, right? And they're like, hey, we got to, it's a lot of sometimes our emotion triggers or thought triggers. And then just using, okay, how do we standardize that? How do we use the standard operating procedure when X, this hits me? How do I flow into the motion to keep peace happening? So it's just, again, the same strategy we're using internally, right? To make things flow, ease, simplicity. It's like we have to also do that for ourselves. And so I think for us in 2025 and for myself, it's like what I preach, I have to live, but like literally it's legit, it's, I have to do it. And it's very intense.
Yeah.
Uh,
What's your approach to
but it's
finding
beautiful.
coaches? So you said you're always coaching and you always have coaching consultants. What's your approach to find, because there's so many people in the consulting coaching business now.
Oh
There's
yeah.
so many.
I will tell you, I always say good people know good people. That's just my motto, right? And so when I was in my very early stages, I had a friend who did really, blew up, went to 4 million very quickly. And she's like, oh my gosh, I was in this program called 2X. You got to join. I'm like, I don't even meet the qualifications to join. And so she went, talked to them, and they're like, okay, we're going to make an exception for you. One of the best things I ever did, 2X, right? And it's just like, real owners that have had super success, and there's this program, right? So that's actually where I found all of my consultants. So it's came from an organization, and then from there, I grew out of 2X, and then I've worked with consultants who at some point worked somewhere vertically with them. So good people know good people. So that's kind of how I always recommend go look for good people that work with good people.
Do those good people need to have past successes that look similar to the thing you're trying to accomplish, or can they have traveled a different path?
I would say for me personally, if they have gone further than me, that for me is a good indicator, right? Because they can be like, oh no, they were able to help me get to this level. And so that for me is a good indicator. Now, if that's how I've always chosen, right? But I can't say to the other because I'm not really sure about the other, right? The other variable.
Yeah. What do you think as you're building 2026? Because you could choose. What's amazing now is you're in Brazil and you're operating your business. You were probably doing it before we got on the phone. You're going to do it after we get off the phone. There's so much that can be accomplished outside of the physical established business, whatever city it's in. You could go into anything. You could start any business. You could scale. I'm sure you can take this platform and stack it on for other contractors. I don't know if that's in your brain or in your head or not. Like, what are you going to do with this? I know you want to change people's lives. What are you going to do? Are you going to financially change your life? Are you going to have total financial security? Are you going to become one of the next billionaires of Brazil and the US? What are you going to do with it?
No, that's really good. And this goes back to mindset right here too. You know what was the most difficult thing for myself in this whole journey was to pay myself. I literally felt guilt, felt absolute guilt, right? Because I come from a story of like, my parents would go to work and then they would go at midnight to go clean Burger King together so they could add additional funds to the house, right? So didn't grow up with like all of this like, oh my gosh, it's okay to make up money, right? And so I had to deal with a lot of that. That was a crazy mindset shift for me. So yes, the goal with this is one, to be financially in a really great place, but also the OG team, which I say it's my original gangsters that have been like through the with for them as well. Because I will tell you, each one of these original gangsters, there's 6 of them, they all were kind of like me. We just needed one chance. We don't have a pedigree, right? We don't have come from this. We just have a lot of grit. And so I'm like, I go up, we all go up together. And so it would be awesome if just financial freedom, all the way through. I don't know. There's so much we could do with this right now. A lot of tech agencies are coming to us, so we're working really closely with tech agencies. There's so much that could happen, but I want to have complete financial freedom and also take care of my parents. I want them to be financially free. That's my goal.
How much time with this going back and forth between the two countries and running the business? How much time do you get with them?
Oh, so this is funny. My parents live in West Palm Beach, Florida. And so we were always there, right? And they're like, you're going to move to Brazil so the kids can learn Portuguese? I'm like, yes. So they actually just came and visited for a month, right? And so that they want to be here more, but they're working, right? So they're still working. And so I'm like, let's get you out of working. That's really my goal. I want to just thank them for all the things that they did for us, right? They invested. Maybe it wasn't money, but they invested so much. They taught us languages. They taught us people, right? Things that are intangible sometimes. But yeah.
Do you find yourself, when you're bringing on these contractors, true partners, you're like, hey, we don't work for you. Maybe that's the approach, but we're partners in this business. What do you start? How do you start the process? They can go onto your website. They can actually click to start here and go through the process. Your website says you can be up and running in 10 days with us. Where do you start though? If they call and say, why you, what questions do you want to ask them? What do you want to know about them?
Yeah. When we get on the call, we tell them, hey, we are just going to ask questions about your business. We want to see if we can even help. And, because we've had like, why should I choose you? I'm like, I actually don't know if you should at all. Right. Because it's like, we don't want one night stands. Like we want marriage. We want to be able to grow with you. Right. And so it is. And especially now, because everything is task driven. It's automation infused. It's technology infused. We're not VAs where you can like ask us random things and we're doing it. It's like everything is task driven, automation driven. We're looking at the pipeline just like we're looking at a stock, cryptocurrency or, looking at the stock market data. So we're looking at data. So it's shifted. So when the contractor comes to us now, when we hear, okay, what's going on? All right, cool. And then we ask certain variables, right? And then to onboard with us is insane. It is like a no-brainer. It's just $1,997. Before it used to be $6,500 minimum with, a 6-month contract. Now it's no yearly contract, month to month. It's just $1,997 a month. It is a no-brainer.
And then probably just a percentage of sales. I'm assuming that's what it looks like.
It's $1,997 for up to 10 fulfilled jobs. Anything that goes over is just $110, and we invoice that separately. And we invoice based on actual like jobs that go into production. Super simple.
This seems like it's massively scalable.
Yeah, and that's the goal. We just scalability, but most of all, peace for our internal team as well. Because before they were running in chaos, constantly having to learn all these new CRMs. Now it's literally every task that comes in, it goes to specialist pods and departments. All they do all day long, spend millions of hours just pulling permits nationwide. So whoever's touching the task for a contractor is truly a specialist.
Do you feel like you're their operations team, almost like your whole team's their COO? Where's it fit?
Like for them? Yeah. And what we feel is, so it's been a really cool shift where they really see us as like, oh my gosh, they're like in a way consultants, right? When a consultant comes in, they typically have a different vibe. And so that's what we're there. We're like, okay, well, so the contractor feels like, whoa, they really know what they're talking about. Cause we're like, let's set up this automation. This is what we recommend here. There's that, right? And this is all to improve the client experience, but for them to improve their life. So it's a different vibe now because it's almost like a product. It's almost like Netflix. You can watch everything or use some tasks.
Yeah. I think I had a conversation with the leadership team actually just last night. And I said, hey, the company has to be a product. It has to be. It has to you because it's a commodity. There's so many competitors in our business. These companies I run, you have to have a product, and that company needs to be a product. Do you have competitors in your space, or are you evolving this new area that you're in? Are you niching this out?
Yeah. So I would say, And our other framework, right, which was like 6 months ago, absolutely. And also it was funny because when we started, I didn't even know other companies existed that did this. So again, just showed how naive we were. But yeah, there's awesome companies that do what we did, right? And we actually, when we weren't a good fit, we would point people their direction. We're like, hey, we can't help you, but you should go check them out, right? And so really where we're evolving now is we're not in the virtual assistant game. We're in the tech game, right? And so tech can do a lot, but with the roofing side of the business, there's still a lot of manual things that like permits, things of that nature that you still need that human capacity. And so that's what we are. We're in a tech game. And that's who we're really competing against, like the tech, not VAs. So it's almost like its own little space
Yeah,
for
it seems
now.
like it's a niche.
It's a niche, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Good. What is the? I kind of asked this a little bit before, but maybe we'll finish with this part to see how this converts just to entrepreneurs in general. How are you specifically approaching gaining new clients? You said you used to get on the phone and just call people. You were cold calling. You get 100 no's and keep going. What are you utilizing now? Is it social? Funnels are kind of going away now because there's so many other stacks of AI. What's happening? How are you specifically obtaining new clients and new business? What are you doing? What's the approach?
Yeah. So for us right now, which is really interesting, we scaled to a 7-figure business with literally one Facebook ad that ran, and it was 1% of our budget. So it was like, and it was horrible. And so now, right, we've gotten some better Facebook ads. So for us right now, it's word of mouth, Facebook ads, and just really good follow up. So right now we're in a new space where before we were building our brand. So we would be like, okay, this is who we are. Now we're like in a new space because there's so many different contractors coming in now that don't even know the space. So really we're infusing a lot of, teachings on YouTube. Like we're really going to that like education part now of the business where people can get educated, find a lot of value. We're providing ebooks, things of that nature, where they can feel the confidence before they even get on the call with us. By the time they get on the call with us, they already know exactly what we do and they're ready to go and they're ready to just sign and on board. So that's really what we're focusing on now.
This conversation could be Thais changing the world through roofs. I don't know. We'll come up with something that's better. But it wouldn't have mattered what you chose to do. I think this approach, this optimism, but also this all in. I like that you succeeded in corporate America and still know why you don't want to go back to it. And that is so important for this journey to have you not quit, to continue on when it gets really hard, because you know what the other side looks like.
Yes. Yes, you do. Yes, I do. Right. And I feel like in the time I did corporate life, for me, I'm like, I did almost, let's say 8 years in that company. I really, with all the amount of push that I did, it was like 21 years. So that's why I'm like, I'm not going back. I've gone far more than just the time shows because that's how intense I am.
All right. So to wrap this up, if it's about mindset, how did you evolve to know it's about that? Was it a book? Is there an influencer you follow? How do you know this is about mindset, winning this game, even your business and the contractors you work with? How do you know it's that?
First of all, as I became a parent, right, I think that makes it very, uh, it's a new journey there. But I think just realizing, for me, I like listening to like Simon Sinek, right, like those.
So your why? Yep. You had to figure out
Yeah,
what your why is. He's correct about that.
Yeah, I also really enjoy listening to podcasts, right? Like CEO podcast, how I built that. That was like my motivator of all things. I don't know if you've ever listened to that, how I built that. It's just constant stories of other owners who have built great brands and like the real struggle. And so for me, I would just listen to that nonstop. And then through that, you're learning that they're saying it's, oh, my mind, it's my mind. Oh, I had a shift. And then you're like, okay, if they're saying that, then, and then for me, just very practical things. I'm like, I have trauma I have to deal with. So I'm going to work on that with some counselor. And then as I went into coaching, they're like, oh, you know how great people just become even greater. They just get a lot of help everywhere, right? With great people helping them. And so I'm like, oh, it's okay to ask for help, right? And so that's been for me a really big game changer. It is mindset because especially depending on the people you're around, right? My family's not used to that. So I looked really freaking crazy, right? And so mindset is everything, literally.
All right. So all these roofing contractors, these folks that we know here in the Midwest and the states we operate, how do they find you? And we know you're going to lecture them like, we don't work for you. This is a partnership. We're going to change your business. We're not for everyone, but we might be for you.
Yeah. Yeah. How can they find us? Very simple. If you go to Saenz Global, SAENZ global.com, that's our website, but also any platform, social platform, YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Our team does we have an in-house team. They do such a great job with like just keeping everything consistent. We're always on there. Our team is always ready to connect. So, or you can email me at thais@saenzglobal.com or call my cell. Go ahead, 561-908-3501. Text me, call me. No problem. That's my real
She's a
number.
hustler, you all. She will not be defeated. This is going to be exciting. This is going to be exciting to watch this. I really am. Because I know it's all about the people now. We could take any business and we could change that business for the better. We can see some systematic things that need to be improved, but it's about the people. You're right.
100%.
It's about the people. And part of it's about the people is also about us, about our mindset, our willingness, right? How much we go all in. Boy, if we could all have understood that earlier in life too, it wouldn't have been this hard.
Wouldn't have been this hard.
There's the pain. Hey, thank you for joining us. You brightened my day from the smile, from the energy, from the charisma a little bit. So even though we got to talk about the kind of boring thing about roofs, this was an exciting conversation. So thank you for coming on. Enjoy that time. Get back to the beautifulness of where in Brazil?
Florianópolis.
She says it just like it's meant to be said. All right, Thais, thank you. Thank you for joining us. And maybe a roofer or two will reach out to you. And you know what? At some point, I'm going to start tracking as our brand starts growing, getting bigger. I'm going to track. I'm going to get some of this affiliate money. Hey, y'all, if you go to her, I'm coming to get like a penny out of every referral.
There you go. We would totally love that. We love giving affiliates. So
yes.
For sure.
Thank you. 100%. Have an awesome rest of your day. Thanks for coming on.
Mark, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate it.